Here I'm going to share 12 signs that a player might be close in DayZ. Spotting these signs can be the difference between survival or becoming somebody else's loot. If you like the video, please leave a like or a subscribe. It breaks the monotony of the inevitable spiral towards an untimely death. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Wait. I'm not sure if he's dead or challenging me to a dance-off. Starting off with the absolute basics. Missing trees in a forest stand out. Players chop them for base building or firewood. If a tree looks unnatural, someone's been working there recently. It's a good idea to scout the area before moving closer and also pay attention to nearby towns or houses because chances are somebody's trying to stay warm. Next up, cars are a big giveaway, whether it's parked by the roadside or tucked into a hidden spot. A vehicle means players are nearby. If its parts are missing or more importantly mismatched, somebody is probably close enough to form a social connection, and if you're anything like me, you'll panic, make an inappropriate joke and then run away to the mountains to live with the wolves. Next is another obvious one. Loot piles like ruined backpacks, broken guns or even half emptied cans can tell you a lot. They show you where someone's been and what they didn't want anymore, but they can also mean a trap, so don't rush in without checking your surroundings if you see a backpack or a gun in the middle of a road. Next is one you absolutely need to know. It's mushrooms on the ground or fruit under trees. They're not just random spawns, they only spawn when players are nearby, including yourself if you've been in the area for a few minutes. Mushrooms are not just a good way to unwind after a long week. Moving on, we have dead infected in the street, but it's not just dead infected, it's also disturbed infected. If you see them acting weird or running consistently together, then chances are somebody's disturbed them and you're about to run into a player. Make sure you spot them before they spot you. Next one is traps. Traps like bear traps or tripwires or even landmines don't set themselves. Now this is a weird one because some players just set them to trip some people up even though they're never going to stay in the area, but it still means you need to be way more vigilant when you see them. Next is sounds, because gunshots, footsteps, chopping and even a distant crackle of a fire can clue you in on activity nearby. Pausing to listen can sometimes keep you alive longer than rushing ahead, and it is an absolute vital tactic to use during the nighttime. Oh wait, was that a noise? You're a pussy. Then we have fireplaces. Fireplaces don't just disappear whenever a player leaves. The ashes and stones stick around, letting you know somebody was cooking or warming up, but keep in mind if there's any kind of embers burning or any glow whatsoever, chances are the player is still very close. Next up is another obvious one, but I'd feel weird not mentioning it. It's dead players. If you see a player and they don't have any flyers around them, then you are in immediate danger, so be very careful. Then we have light sources at night. A faint glow in the distance is all you need to spot a careless player, and if you use binoculars or a rangefinder or even a scope, you'll be able to see them a lot further out. It's a good way to see people and then just take them out. But one of the best ways to know that somebody is around, especially useful when inland, is just finding a skinned animal, and this is definitely a sign somebody is nearby. This is super useful because it usually also means that somebody is in the nearest town cooking said meat, so just keep that in mind. Next up is bases. If you see a base, chances are a player might be inside or nearby. Just give it a check. But there's also this tip which I don't think a lot of people actually know about. So this is kind of like a bonus tip, but it's really useful. So if you're ever walking through like a forest or a town or something happens and then all of a sudden you get a big frame rate drop, chances are there's a player nearby. It also works to find bases. It's especially useful on console because it happens on console a lot, but it also happens on PC. If there's a big drop, something has usually changed around you, and in my experience that can be a player. But there is one thing that can render this entire video useless, and that's not knowing what to do when you actually find a player. And to learn all of that, just click this video here where I'll give you all the tips you could possibly need and more. Or for something else, click here. And as always, until next time.